Hey, what's up guys, me JyleRandom, and this is a video. Do you really think I was gonna do that weird intro like last time? Nope. And we are back once again with another rant video. Of course, this is a continuation of the last time's rant video that I've done, where I was talking about anime when I was talking about anime no longer having originality. Now this time I'm gonna be going to the gaming side, where I'll be talking about games no longer having originality. Of course, this is all completely my opinion. Anyone can have their own thoughts and what they think about this subject, but this is just my opinion. I want to talk about the things that I think about the originality in gaming. First off, to start this entire subject, what exactly do I mean about the originality of games? Of course, games do have its own premise, its own originality, its own plot, and its own game mechanics, you could say. If you think about the whole gaming community in general right now, the whole genre of games of this modern time, how much originality do you see in games as of now? Can't think of anything, can you? Sorry. Of course, there are many things that come to the top of the mind, but of course, I can't say that there are original games coming out these days. If you think hard enough, most of the games that are coming out of this time is pretty much very much similar to one of each other. You can talk about, for an example, Overwatch. Overwatch is its own genre, you could say, or probably not. Doesn't matter. It's all that matters about your opinion. But if you think about it clearly, it's a first-person shooter that has a mix of our MMORPG in it. If you think about Overwatch, you could say that it's in the first-person genre, but it's also a little type. It gives in a little mix from Blizzard and giving it its own MMO feel into it as well. So it's not a completely first-person shooter like you mostly see in these kind of times in video games, but it has that mix as well. But it still falls into the premise of still being unoriginal. Why? Because first off, it's already taken those two genres. It already is a first-person shooter where you have a little mix of MMO in it. Pretty much there you can think of other games who have done the same similar things as well. It falls into those categories. It may be a good game, but it's still unoriginal, you could think about it. Of course, I don't really want to mention all the other similar games, though you could say, like Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, or Battlefield. But the thing that you could probably mostly give a better example into this subject is mostly when you talk about, for an example, platformer games. Specifically, talking about the platformer games in midst of the 2008 to 2010. If I can remember, if it was around that time. Specifically, the games that I'm talking about is Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter series, and of course the Sly Fox series. If you want me to point out the things that are similar to these three games, is mostly that they're platformer games. Now you can see a lot of the originality between these three games, but it falls under the same subject and the same argument that they're not original at all. They are actually the same games if you actually made it play it to feel the same way. It gives the same vibe and makes it playable for most people. You can also give out other examples as well, like the MMORPG, of course, just for an example, League of Legends, or World of Warcraft, or even probably Smite as well. They fall into different kinds of games as well. They have different kinds of gameplays and different kinds of mechanics. But tell me, would you say that they're not similar and they're still original in their own premise? No, they're not. They actually fall into the same category. They're unoriginal, guys. Well, I'm not saying, of course, that not all games are unoriginal, of course. All the other past games that has come out are, of course, have their own original releases. It has its own plot. It has its own premises. It has its own game mechanics. It can be called an original video game. But the thing is that I want to say is that these types of modern times that you see in the companies pumping out games after games, they don't be pumping out games that are original in its own way. They could be pumping games every single year that is basically a sequel to another. Like the biggest example I can give you guys is the Call of Duty series. It's been pumping out over many games, giving it a different kinds of theme into it, but it falls into a same kind of mechanics and same kind of games. Of course, each Call of Duty is not the same as the other. Of course, that is completely true. It falls into a different kind of way you play it, but they just add more new things and gives you a different theme. I used to play Call of Duty a lot, but I haven't been playing a lot of it anymore. You could say it's because this whole anime distraction, of course. And of course, the other big example is the Assassin's Creed series, where they're probably pumping out games after games after games. It gives a different theme in it, or specifically, it gives a different kind of time period. And movement mechanics are of course different from every game it releases, but it still falls into the same mechanics as the last game, or if not from the first game of the Assassin's Creed series. Of course, at least they've taken a step back into the series itself by taking a break in a year. And of course, like, there are many more examples to this, like the Battlefield series or the Medal of Honor series. These games fall into the same dreadful category of being unoriginal anymore, because they've been pumping out games over and over and over. And the thing is, mostly that I really wanted to talk about in this video, is that companies these days are too scared, you could say, to make unoriginal games because they're afraid that it won't sell better than their games that they make already. Now think about it like this: if you're a company and if you want to pump out more games, and if you're in a meeting, of course everyone's going to agree that they want to make the same game and not risk the fact that they might lose their game, that they might lose money just to develop a game that isn't even gonna sell well in the end. Now the best way for them to think of is to make pretty much the same game, make it a different theme, probably change a little bit of the mechanics, but most likely they're just gonna change the theme and pretty much sell it to the crowd. And then it'll be a safe way to know that they will still buy it, because this is the only way they know that they can make more games and pump up more, that they can make more money for the company. It's a safe way, but the problem is, it works. It works because it gets them more money. It gives them to develop more of these games and somehow call it a new and original kind of mechanic of the last sequel. And the thing is, like I said, like in the last video, these companies are too afraid to pump up original types of anime because they're afraid that they won't sell very well. Not like the ones that they've already made, like the studio who created Naruto. They're gonna be pumping out fillers after fillers, right? Well, they might be even afraid to pump up their own anime because they're afraid that it'll flunk and it won't sell well, just like Naruto. The same can be said with gaming too, and that's just the bad thing about us. And the same argument that I said in the last video, guess whose fault that is? It's us. It's our fault for buying the same game over and over and over. It's our fault for us demanding new and unique dynamics into these sequels instead of telling the company, hey, how about you pump up a new kind of game instead of just pumping the same kind of games over and over and over. And the thing is, we are somehow not speaking out to this, and I don't see a lot of people speaking out that we need more original games like this. We are too distracted with staying with the same kind of games and buying the same kind of game and wasting our time with the same kind of game. Now, of course, I'm not saying it's a waste of time to play games, but that's not the point here. You guys would probably argue with maybe different from my opinion here, that your opinion that might be different to another. But this is just my thoughts of what I think about this whole gaming community is going. We've been buying the same games over and over. That's pretty much, it's a routine for the company to make new games, but pretty much play similar to the old one. Now, but of course, like I said, it's all my opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below, what you think about the subjects about games no longer having its own originality. I'd be happy to oblige and read all of your comments, so go ahead and just leave your thoughts out there and I'll happily read them. Go ahead and leave a subscribe because I really like doing these kind of rants, to be honest, even though most of you guys don't really enjoy it. But anyway, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this wonderful video, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. And also, I have other social medias in the bottom in the description. just like I said, go ahead and leave your thoughts on what you think about the subject, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace out.
Back from the dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're all invited to go fucking mental on this motherfucking drop.